Welcome everybody to another episode of Lockdown 23 and 1. Today we're going to be speaking on little Tyler Lloyd Grants, 21 years old from North Carolina. I'm going to show him get into an altercation with someone inside the cell block, which unfortunately leads to someone losing their life. But before we get into Tyler's crazy story, don't forget to tap that like, subscribe, notification bell if you enjoy, and check out my playlist with many more videos for you to start watching today. Tyler Lee Grant from Kernersville, 20 years old at the time. Grants was arrested on March 5th, 2019 when he was charged with possession of a stolen firearm and carry or use by discharging firearms during and in relation to a drug trafficking crime. Those arrests followed a series of events beginning with Grants firing at a North Carolina state trooper. The trooper said they spotted a stolen vehicle traveling nearly 100 miles an hour on I-40 in Alamance County at 2 a.m. At some point, Tyler shoots an AR-style rifle and a handgun at the state trooper, disabling his vehicle. This is some movie stuff happening right now. Tyler later on pulls over in Orange County, shooting at state troopers once again. Car gets stuck, he flees into the woods, and that's what starts the manhunt. But eventually, guess what? Someone just driving down the road spots him.
The number one reason why this person was caught, because of the public.
Calls 911, they investigate and find him. And the officers said when they captured him, he was taunting them.
He was not happy, he was not remorseful. He was very boastful about his actions this morning, which is, I think, speaks to the dangerous nature of this individual.
He knew he was over with. This was his last straw. Some people give up and some people fight back with everything they got. You gotta understand, a lot of these guys out here in the streets say to themselves, man, they'll die before going back to prison. Or just to go to begin with, they don't have to have been there already. Authorities arrested Grants more than 3 miles away from the crash site. He was in possession of an assault rifle and distribution quantities of cocaine. He also had other controlled substances, a large amount of cash, drug packaging materials, and digital scales with him. He didn't want to leave that stuff behind, did he? Either way, he was shooting at the state trooper. That's where the bulk of his time came from, because he was sentenced to 30 years in prison. And that's what we're going to jump into now, the cell block. Like I said, he's going to have altercation with another inmate, and someone's going to end up losing their life. But it was very unexpected, and there's a lot of stuff to break down in this little 5-minute clip. Things that people wouldn't see unless they've been locked up and in the mix. This is actually coming from a county jail. I apologize if I said prison somewhere in the beginning. Orange County Jail, not in California, North Carolina. Now, first, before I press play, let me just say this pod is dead. It's 7:29 p.m. Usually it's jumping a bit. People trying to get that last hand in, bet it all before the door closes. We got to get back. Or they're cooking their last meal for the night with the only hot water source or microwave in the pot. Depending on what facility you're in. So, this pod, it looks stressed out to begin with. Anyways, we got Mr. King over here. He's rolling up to the congregated table, which is probably watching TV. We got Mr. Grant here chilling, but it seems like there's about to be an altercation. I still haven't found out exactly what it was over, but if I were to guess, it was something petty. You got a fifth guy over here on the right, can't really see him, pulls Tyler to the side, and you can see Tyler kind of looking like there might be an issue. Now Mr. King's sitting in the back watching everything unfold, and I don't know if he was a part of it already or just happened to put his 2 cents into something he shouldn't have. But he starts talking to one of the homeboys that was sitting with Tyler watching TV. If I were to guess, he's probably telling him what he's about to say to Tyler, because immediately he goes up to him next. Now the situation looks like it could be heating up a bit, and just from what I see, it looks like Mr. King had enough and invites him to the cell for a one-on-one fight. And that's typically how it happens. One person starts talking, one guy might have said something a little greasy, and the next guy says, all right, well, let's go in the cell then, walks into the cell. That's your test of heart right there in many situations. A lot of people don't go up, but a lot of people do. I don't know if he knows anything about Tyler. He's kind of trained to go. I mean, he was shooting at state troopers like it was nothing. So he follows Mr. King up to his cell. I don't know if it was King's cell or what, but Tyler comes up behind him, not hiding, immediately was following behind him. And this is another sign that, the guy's dealing with convict principles. He closes the door behind him. A lot of people, they'll sit right at the gate of the door, man, talking crap, getting loud, hoping the CO comes in before everything gets too deep. Not Tyler. He goes in and closes the door. They go in there, they start to rumbling for a few minutes. Now you got guys, peeping the scene, making sure probably no one gets too injured, and they're just making sure that nobody gets caught up, waiting for the COs to do their rounds. It's over. Tyler comes out, goes to his cell to clean up, probably has some minor injuries, Homeboy walks past the cell, posted up. Look, he closes the cell door to Tyler's room, puts something in the window, and that's typical. Always put something in the window before the CO's coming around and just saying you're dropping a deuce or something. But look, he's pushing the CO in that direction to this cell at the end. See, that's the key here. A lot of guys, especially after a fight and they know they're cleaning stuff up, maybe blood or whatever, or even just someone doing a tattoo, if a CO comes in and do their rounds, there's tactics to keep their attention away from that cell. Maybe bring it to another cell. Maybe do is like, yeah, there's flooding in my sink in the cell all the way to the end. Check it out, and steer the CO to go into the cell. Now watch this. The CO comes out of the cell and he walks along with them, talking to him probably about a bunch of nothing just to keep his attention away from looking into the cells. Brings the CO down here, shows him some paperwork. That's the tactic. And he's a bigger inmate. The CO, he's probably like, all right, I'm probably going to listen to this big dude. I don't want no trouble. Let's go down there and look at his paperwork. But the whole time it was just to keep the attention off of the dude's cell that just got into a fight. And now you see this guy, he's talking to the COs. I don't know exactly what he's saying to them, but we got another injured guy right here in like a wheelchair type of situation. I don't know, this might be some kind of medical block, because in one of the reports, it says Mr. King asked for one of his inhalers. He didn't ask for anything else, but it turns out he was in need of some assistance for real. Tyler ended up winning that fight. That's right, Tyler killed that man in what he thought was just an innocent one-on-one fight. Mr. King was pronounced dead at the hospital just a few hours later at 10:22 p.m. An autopsy report shows King likely died from blunt force injury, leading to acute cardiac arrhythmia. King's weight and asthma contributed to his death, the autopsy states. Now oddly, I couldn't figure out what King was locked up for, but in the past he was hit with 81 felony drug counts, not to mention firearms and indecent liberties with a child. Now this is the crazy thing. Not only was it a one-on-one fight turned deadly, but I typed in his name in North Carolina DOC website, and it says that he was charged with involuntary manslaughter. His sentencing was 1 year 7 months to 2 years and 8 months. But the surveillance camera, if you were to ask me, probably spared him in the courtroom with that case. But that's the story of Mr. Tyler Grant. It says his release date is what? Total incarceration term 14 years, 9 months, and 25 days. I'm guessing in Carolina, maybe you do like probably 60% or something. I don't know, but his projected release date is 5/20/2032. Crazy situation. Every time I hear someone killing an inmate in prison, the first thing I ask myself is, I wonder what the hell he was doing before that, right? Because everybody has a story. But there's a few things that we can learn from this. First and foremost, drive the speed limit, right? If he wasn't speeding, none of this probably would have happened. Secondly, he shot at police and he got sentenced to 30 years. So don't ever think just because you shot at the cops that your life's over, man. Don't go off doing something even crazier, like kill someone, accidentally running them over, running from the cops or something, right? So anything and everything in this type of situation will escalate to something deeper and darker. Just stop while you're ahead. And last but not least, I say it all the time, be careful with fights. You never know when that one punch in the asthmatic, individual to have heart failure. He will be held accountable if he ends up dying. Even though from what I read, it looks like Tyler was kind of blessed with that situation. A lot of people aren't. And they get like 20, 30 years added to their sentence for it. Or you're not even in lockup yet. You just have to get in a street fight, man. Next thing you know, you're in prison. It's not worth it. It's usually always over something petty. Weigh out your options and take the right path, ladies and gentlemen. Until the next time, hopefully you enjoy. As always, tap that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave if you did. And until the next time, y'all be easy, be safe, and stay free.